Let's go. I'm Christopher Pitt, and welcome to the Pursuit to Own podcast. At Pursuit to Own, we are pursuing ownership at every level of life. Whether it's mindset, business, life, or real estate, our goal is to get you from renting to owning your future. See, I felt the pain of poverty growing up as a sharecropper in zip code 27843. I understand the struggle of living in a one-bedroom shack, owning nothing, not even running water. But I turned that pain into purpose by becoming a premier affordable housing community developer, providing 27,843 ownership opportunities in marginalized communities. Here's the truth. Ownership starts in your mind, regardless of your situation or location. Whether you are escaping the poverty trap, buying a home, or starting a business, the pursuit to own mindset is the key to unlocking your zip code and success. Join me to discuss new innovative ways to own real estate with tokenization, blockchain, crowdfunding, fractional ownership, and so much more. Let's go. Welcome to the Pursuit to Own podcast. Woo! We are here. Oh my, we are here. Today was a day we just pressed record to start the journey with you. Wow, I've been waiting years to be able to say that. Why are we here? What is Pursuit to Own? Who are you? I'm glad you asked. Pursuit to Own is an organization that wants you pursuing ownership at every level of life. That's right. I need you to get out of these renting habits and start owning your life, your future self, regardless of the challenges, regardless of the barriers that you're going through. That is the essence of what Pursuit to Own is. Now, it just didn't start off that way. Now, I got to tell you, it was a lot that happened to get me to here today, just like many of you. Just like many of you. But what I noticed is there's a common thread throughout any people that overcame, struggle, tribulations, things that make you go, But when you break through, it's something about that. It's some kind of level of superpower to know that you got through it, right? And Pursuit to Own is built on taking that pain and turning it into purpose, right? Turning it into purpose. Can you remember a time when you went through something that was painful, that stopped your life? Stopped it. But yet, you was able to keep moving. You got up one more time. You left and came back where you're supposed to be. Have that happened to you at any phase of your life? Well, that's what Pursuit is all about. How do we get that? How do we box that up to get people that are stuck in their lives, to get them to own it at every level of life? Well, my vehicle for success is real estate. We're going to talk about all kinds of real estate, right? We're going to talk about how you get to real estate. We're going to talk about the more innovations and things of this nature, blockchain, tokenization, partnerships, you name it. Done it all. But what we're really going to boil this down to is like the person looking for their first property. It could be your first home, or first investment property. That's who we're here for. I'm here for you, right? Because I went through all of that so I can sit here to talk to you today because it means that much to me. And let's see how this thing starts. See, it didn't, like I said, this version of me is like the 50th version of me. Version 1, version 1 was not this confident. Version 1, nah, he wasn't this happy. I promise you, right? Version 1 struggled. See, I was born as a sharecropper. Anyone ever heard of a sharecropper? I will tell you, it is one step above slavery. That's right, I said it, the big ass word, slavery. Right? You are put in a house, most times with your family, shack, no running water, and your only job is to work a farm. And you work, and you work, and you work. The only reason it's not considered slavery is because you have a financial opportunity to earn money, which you never do. You always lose a sharecropper, right? You're not physically enslaved, you're financially enslaved. It's the same thing, people, right? So we never got out of that most. I stayed stuck. My family, my generations of family stayed stuck in that. And it was no one had broken out of that mold. No one. And that's why I'm sitting here today, right? Because I was born in 27843, and it is a very poor little town. Still is to this day. It's one of the poorest. But you know what's interesting about that? Did you know a zip code can predict your life with great accuracy? I mean, I was blown away by this. You mean to tell me, based on my zip code, I can tell you how long you're going to live? How much money you're going to make? Will you get a degree in that? All because of where I lived? Blew my mind. But here's the thing. You don't know that when you're in it. When you're suffering in the struggles, you don't know that you're in it, right? So something happens to a person once they go through things in life. You got two paths. It's going to either be the thing that holds you down for your life, or it could be the thing that propels you in your life, right? And there's a decision point into that, right? There's a huge, huge decision point you have to make. And it depends on where you're at in your journey and what happens around you, right? What goals do you have, right? Because for me, my job was simple. I had to get my family out of the prison of poverty. Nothing more, nothing less. And let me give you a little bit of the story. All right, if you want more, you can go to my TED Talk where I had over 1 million views. Please go check it out. It gives you the whole story of how my sharecropper life and my whole story. But this is not what we're here for today. But the elements of that TED Talk is why I'm here. That those facets of pursuit is extremely important to who I am today. All right. But for me, like I said, growing up first generational broke it was the hardest thing I ever did in life. I literally fought for everything I ever received in life. And I didn't notice anything was different till I got out of my environment. Guess when the first time I got out of my environment? I went to school. That's right. That yellow bus showed up about a half a mile down the road, and we're running. But we got on it. Something amazing happened, though. When I got on this bus, I'm looking out the window. I'm seeing houses. I'm seeing cars. I'm seeing bikes. I'm just seeing all these things that we don't have. I'm like, wait a minute. What world are we in? Like, this wasn't like we were 100 miles away. We're talking 5, 8 miles away. It blew my mind. I remember getting off that bus so pissed off at someone this young, right? Because you know what I had to do when I was 6, 7 years old? Did you know what I had to do? These hands was created to break tobacco. That's right. That means that we would go in these hot fields of tobacco. Look it up in any of your slave movies, right? And we're out there and we're breaking each leaf. Boom, boom, throwing it into a bag or throwing it into a trailer, right? We're throwing it in there. We get it full, and then we take it to a barn. Now, in this barn, you have a rake, right? So you got a rack. It's a rack like this, like a U-shaped rack. And then you have this thing on top with prongs that you press down. So you fill this rack up with tobacco vertically, right? And then you push down on the rack and it clicks. Now, this rack weighs about 100 pounds. So now you got to find someone, hopefully they're with you, to pick this rack up and stick it into a barn that had like slots. And then you put it in this barn so you can cure the tobacco. That's how it was done, right? You put it in there for like 7 days. And then guess what, guys? Once it cures, you have to go and pull all those racks out, right? Take that top part off, and then you take it off, and then, The owner would go take this tobacco to sell. That was my life for literally 10 years growing up. Like when I was the age of 6, it started for me. But what really changed my mind, again, was 2 decision points in my life. I started wondering why these people had different things that I didn't have. I mean, it wasn't even close. Why it wasn't working like me? Wasn't even close, right? I would get home and I start asking questions. Mom, why are we in this situation? Why? And my mom everybody worked. And it was just, she tried her best. Like, this house was awful. We had no running water, and she did everything she could to protect her kids. And sometimes kids she didn't even, with her, it's just, just kids in general, right? I remember nights when she was holding the door to make sure drunk and drug-using people wasn't breaking in to our one little room to hurt her family. I remember that. I remember our kids. Like, we were at the door, like holding the door to help her not let people in our room. Like, man, you can't imagine what that felt like at that time, right? It's hard for me to think about what that felt like at that time, right? But what happened was, once I got a little bit older, just really start understanding the situation I was in. The turning point with me, I got to the end of a tobacco field. I looked to the right, I looked to the left. My whole family on my mom's side was there. My whole family. I'm like, why? This cannot be the only thing we do. God, help me. Please tell me this can't be it. We're good people. Why are we suffering? I don't understand. But something in me triggered that day. And I just, I just started, and I'm, part of me feel bad because I was just, I was so upset. I was with my mom. I was becoming angry. I was, I was getting depression. It was just, I just hated everything. I was embarrassed about everything about my life at that point. And the older I got, I saw more and more stuff that people had that I didn't have, and people, had their things to say about my family and how poor we was, and I never forgot that feeling. It was awful. So my mom, being the strong woman she was, I said, hey, we got to get out of this house. And she said, we getting out of this house. And that's all she had to say. And me and my little brother and my little sister, we went to work. We, breaking tobacco as fast as we can to make a little extra money. Long story short, we did get home. Let me tell you something, guys. It was a white house on a dirt road. First bathroom I ever had in my life. I'm like 10 years old. First bathroom. When I tell you I felt rich for the first time in my life, I'm talking about rich. You couldn't tell me I wasn't rich because I had a bathroom. Couldn't tell me. Nothing you can do, right? But here's the other thing that was more remarkable than that. When I looked around and you was able to see the changes that happened, right? Meaning the changes that happened with my family. I felt calm. I felt peace. It was the first time I looked at my mom and saw pride in her face. Like, she's like, I did it. I did it. Right? I get chills right now thinking about it. Because she did do it, man. Just that one move changed my life forever. But here's the thing. Didn't stop there. She looked at me one day and she said, son, I'm taking us as far as we can go. I need you to finish this race. And that is when the pursuit to own mindset was started. That was the first time I had instructions, and I knew it is my turn to use these hands and this mind for something else other than tobacco to free my family from this prison of pain and poverty, right? I knew it. Didn't know what I was going to do, but I had to do something. That was imperative. So, interestingly enough, you never know who's watching you in this world. You think people don't watch? They do, right? And when you're working hard and you do something, sometimes people do recognize that. And what it was for me was, again, I had no resources at all. So I'm doing homework that people were going to the library to get done. I have no way to get to the library. Every morning I'm hustling, trying to do a homework assignment that people had a week to do. I would ask to borrow someone's book. Right? Can I get this book? I would speed read it and try to get as much as I could and get this assignment done, right? Because I wanted to have good grades. I don't know how I did it, but I still managed to be a pretty decent student. But someone took notice in me. It was a teacher. Teacher walked to me and said, "Why do you always are doing your work at the last minute? At the last minute, I see you in here working." I said, "Sir, this is not the last minute. It's the only minute I have. I can't get to the library. We don't have a car. I have no way to get the resources or the books, and I have to ask my classmates for the books." So I made a couple friends, and they know that whatever book they got, they are bringing it to school for me so I can use right before class. So it's not the last minute, it's the first minute. And I think that blew his mind. All right. Now, I had him a couple more, and it was the same thing for like the next year or two, right? But I knew he's always watching me. Turns out he wasn't just a teacher. He was a football coach. That's right. And you know what happened next? He walked up to me and said, "Son, I think you should try for the football team." I said, "Coach, what part of this don't you understand? If I can't get to the library, I cannot get to practice. We don't have no car. No one got no driver license. I just can't get. I have, and I work, right?" That went on for like a year or two, and then one day he showed up on the farm. Right, I'm out there in this tobacco field working, and he asked my mom, could he take me to football camp? He was like, "I just want to see, can he make the team?" My mom said, he doesn't have a way there and back. He said, "I would get him home. I would pick him up. I just want to see if he can make the team." And she said, yes. And he asked me, did I want to go? I said, absolutely, let's go. Now, I'm dirty coming out of tobacco field. It didn't matter to me, right? And when I was sitting in this truck, it was the first time I got what I would call just like life-changing advice. Life-changing. He said, if you make this team and you're really good at football, you don't have to work on the farm like your family. I said, what? How's that possible? He said, because if you are really good, you can get a scholarship to go to college. I'm like, what? What's a scholarship? He was like, they will pay for you to go to college. It blew my mind. It was like instant, boom. I had my first plan to escape poverty. Just like, it did. Let me tell you something. It didn't matter who was at the football practice that day. They won't beat me. I promise you that one. Because it was such an intense, I still remember this feeling. It was so intense. Like, I finally have a way to help my family. Because again, it wasn't just about me. It was me holding a promise from my mom, right? I'm just like, I got it. I'm going to break my family out of this poverty. And I went in, and you best believe I made that team. I made the team. Here's the problem. 27843 was still there for me. All those barriers, all those challenges, it was still there waiting for me. But here's the thing, that's like life, right? Just because you get through the first part of it, that doesn't mean you just become easy. No, you still got to fight, man. You still got to get in there, right? So for me, it was crazy, right? I had random people picking me up. I had strangers taking me home, right? I ran home from the country store. It didn't matter to me. I knew I had to get to practice, and I had to get home. And one way or another, I was going to make that happen. But here's the thing. When you show people that you're worthy and you're hard working, sometimes something amazing happens. Something amazing happens. Do you know, when they saw me trying so hard, that people started to believe in me? Do you remember the first time somebody believed in you? It was an unbelievable feeling, right? I don't know these people. I had people, the kids didn't even play football. volunteering to take me home because they want to see me accomplish my dream because they know it was so much bigger than just football, right? And that impacted me forever. That's why I'm here today, because I'm always paying that for. I'm always wanting to be that one thing that changed that person's life on the other side of this camera, right? This stuff is here, man. Pursuit is something that we all need to get through life. My vehicle in life that got me out of my situation was a couple of things. It was football, but it really became real estate. Why? Think about it for a second. You talking about the thing that I never had is the thing that I'm doing for others. Can you believe that? You should believe that, right? You should believe that. And that is why it was such a passionate TED Talk, because the TED Talk was around how pain can be the blueprint to your success. Now, I wouldn't be able to give that speech if I wasn't talking about real life, right? That wasn't rehearsed. That was all passion. That was all passion. It happened in real life, right? I don't have to practice that. That happened. But it got me thinking, right? As I got older and got around people that actually had more than me, and I had, mentors, and my mentors were jobs. Like I've always worked at places just to learn. I didn't see it as a job. It didn't care about the money, what they paid me. I wanted that skill. Whatever that skill I was after, that's where I went for. Right? But it's unbelievable to me that the thing that I didn't have is what I'm doing from other people. Because the second greatest advice, just advice someone gave me was, you are better. No one is better served than the people you used to be. So let me bring that back. What I tried to say was, you are the best person to serve the person you used to be. Right. It's different versions of how people say it. But at the end of the day, you are better equipped to serve the person you used to be. Think about it. What makes you a master of anything? That means you went through and you mastered something, right? If you went through something, especially when we're talking about life and death scenarios, and you got through it and you are successful on the side, you are a master in whatever that is. In whatever that is. And people don't realize how much power is in that, because I get it. I get it. I was embarrassed too. I would never tell this story. I would never do it. Years ago, I just got to a point in life I knew I had to share my story because it's the thing that's driven me. I get asked this question all the time. I used to hide behind it. I wouldn't tell people. Nobody, I dare pick tobacco with these hands. No, these are NBA, these are football hands. These are, NBA hands. Like, I would never tell people about that, but it's the truth, right? But I wouldn't be sitting there without these hands, right? So that's always the journey that most people have to go down, regardless. When do you feel comfortable enough with yourself to let the world see you? And when they see you, you'll never feel so good, right? Because you are the version that you're supposed to be. And that's where I am today. And that's why we here at Pursuit to Own, right? That DNA is about the person that got knocked down 5, 6, 7 times, got up 8, got up 8. It's all matters in life, right? Are you willing to get back up again? Are you willing to try it again? Like, you know how many times I've been at this thing in real estate, right? This is not the first, won't be the last, but it's different elements to real estate. And I had to go through them all to get comfortable with what I want to do. But you know the thing I landed with? I did commercial real estate. I worked for big companies. I did CBRE. I did all of these things. All these things. Do you know what I landed at? Creating first-time home buyers. It's amazing. Why? Because it's the person I used to be. It's the person I used to be. Now, I went on my life and I had done big commercial projects. I became a real estate developer, but I've always been gravitating back to that, solving that problem for the person I used to be. And today, it is the gap that we have in home ownership, right? It is getting to a point, it's unreachable. And I'm just seeing people that just need one opportunity, missing out on something that can change not only their life, but the life of generations to come. And that it was enough for me to like, you know what? I'm putting the cape back on for my people. I'm not done getting. And that is why Pursuit On is creative, right? Because I know that journey. I know it well. I can do it in my sleep, right? I know every stone on that road to ownership, every one of them. Mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. Financially, all of it. I know it. And what has really got me in the uproar is that gap is growing and growing, and our people are losing out. And I just couldn't stand by and watch. I couldn't stand by and watch. So, Pursuit On, we are here for those people that are still in their pursuit of their first home, first investment property with a purpose. That's a trick right there. See, I just don't do all and everything within real estate. It's very strategic for the people that has the pursuit mindset. And I can't wait to share so much of this, of what we're doing, because I think it's mind-blowing and it's impactful, and I think it's needed. Because let's face it, today's first-time home buyer and their home buying courses are not adequate. It's just not. It's just not. If you are still talking about, if I buy this coffee today, I may not qualify for this loan, you have a bigger problem. We have a bigger problem. And those are the things we got to address, because most people think when you say real estate, that's the first thing they want to talk about. They think it go instantly to like getting home, talking about numbers. No, 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 no. It starts here, right here, in your mind. I don't even start with talking about the houses first. I want to know who you are. Are you ready for this journey, right? Because I know all of this trauma you got to get rid of. I know all of the emotions tied to your decision. I know how you self-sabotage yourself. Yeah, I know. Know how I know? I did it. Been there, done it. So it's all these phases you go through that people that never went through any of this stuff on this journey, they don't understand. They think they can just tell you or give you a PowerPoint and say, do this and your life will be great. Well, damn it, that ain't how it works. It's not how it works. It works for some. But for the people I'm talking about, it's more in the purchase of anything, right? You got to think, every contract I've ever seen, the language says, don't sign anything under duress, right? If you're under duress, that's voidable in a contract, right? Because you can't be pressured or you can't feel stressed. All this stuff, you can't have this. It has to be a clear-headed decision is what they're saying, right? But think about this from a person that lived their life in survival mode. That's a life being under duress, right? Under duress. Do you think they make the best decisions if they still in that mode? Hello? No. If you are in survival mode, you're under duress. And we got to address that first before we ever talk about getting qualified in your area. Because trust me, most of the time, I already know the credit score range. I already know what you're making, kind of. Because I've been there, done it so many times. The difference is going to be you. So I'm just going to wrap up this episode here. It's just, we have so much road to travel together. This path to pursuit to own is going to be amazing. And if you know anyone out there that are struggling, that have struggled. It's people out there that, they want a first time home. They don't. See, at Pursuit to Own, we're not teaching them just to look at it as a home. We're teaching them to look at it as an investment or a wealth creation opportunity, because we gotta get in the game. If the game changes, you have to change with it. And we're changing the game at Pursuit to Own. So I look forward to coming to you live and direct. I want to hear from you. We're going to have some great stories, some great accomplishment. Hey, we're going to sit in the pain, right? Because I believe your pain can be the blueprint to your success. And we're going to prove that right here on the Pursuit to Own podcast. As always, stay tuned and stay in pursuit. Let's go. Thank you for listening to the Pursuit to Own podcast. If today's episode inspired you, don't stop here. Take the next step toward owning your future. Visit pursuitToOwn.com to sign up and join our growing community of wealth builders. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Pursuit to Own for updates, tips, and success stories. Together, we're turning dreams into assets. Until next time, stay in pursuit.